So, if you've ever had some really tough pain, you've probably met this little guy, Diclofenac. It's one of the most common painkillers in the world for sure. But what is it, really? And how does it actually work? Well, that's what we're here for. We're going to get into the full story of Diclofenac 50 milligrams, from how it zaps pain to the stuff you absolutely need to know to stay safe.
All right, here's our game plan. First, we'll cover what Diclofenac even is. Then we'll get into the science of how it works. After that, we'll talk practical stuff, like who uses it and how much. Then comes the important part, the risks and side effects. And we'll wrap up with how to use it safely, looking at interactions and monitoring. Let's get to it.
All right, let's jump right in. Section 1. What is Diclofenac? We're taking a closer look at a very, very common painkiller.
Yeah, I bet this looks familiar to a lot of you. This stuff is a powerhouse. It's known for being super potent, not just for pain, that's the analgesic part, but also for inflammation. And that's why doctors reach for it so often, for everything from sudden injuries to long-term chronic issues.
So what kind of drug is it? Well, it's part of a big family called NSAIDs. You've probably heard that term before. It stands for non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. And if you want to get a little nerdy, chemically, it's something called a phenylacetic acid derivative. Now, that might sound complicated, but it's actually what gives Diclofenac its unique punch, setting it apart from a lot of other NSAIDs out there.
Okay, so don't just look for the name Diclofenac on the box, because you might not find it. It goes by a ton of different brand names all over the world. You might see Vovaran, Dicloran, Dynapar, the list goes on. It's just good to know these so you can recognize it if your doctor gives you a prescription.
Okay, now for the cool part. How Diclofenac works, the science of pain relief. How does this little pill actually stop the pain? We're about to go from the medicine cabinet all the way down to the cellular level to find out what's really going on in your body.
So, the magic really happens with these two things called COX-1 and COX-2. They're enzymes, and you can think of them like little factories inside your body. Their main job? They're constantly churning out these chemicals called prostaglandins. It's actually a pretty straightforward three-step process. First, Diclofenac comes in and basically shuts down those COX enzyme factories. It just blocks them. That leads right to step 2. With the factories closed, the production of those prostaglandins just plummet. And here's the kicker. Prostaglandins are the things that cause pain, inflammation, and fever. So when you get rid of them, that's step 3, you start to feel relief. Super direct and really effective.
Okay, science lesson over. Let's get back to the real world. Practical use and dosing. In other words, who actually takes this stuff and how much should they take?
I mean, this drug is a real workhorse. It's used for so many different things. Doctors prescribe it all the time for long-term inflammatory problems, like osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis, but it's also a champ for short-term acute pain. Like after you get a tooth pulled or have surgery.
And it's not just a one-trick pony when it comes to how you take it. Sure, there's the standard pill, but you can also get special enteric-coated tablets. Those are designed to be easier on your stomach. There are even gels you can rub right on the sore spot, and injections for when you need pain relief like right now. Oh, and a really important tip. If you're taking the tablets, always take them with food or right after you eat.
So what's a typical dose? For most adults, we're talking about a 50 milligram tablet. Usually you take that 2 or maybe 3 times a day. Of course, that all depends on what your doctor says is right for your situation.
But listen up, this is important. There is a hard stop. The absolute maximum you should take in one day is 150 milligrams. You really don't want to go over that, because that's when the risk of side effects starts to climb, and fast.
And that brings us to what is maybe the golden rule for taking any NSAID, not just Diclofenac. Here it is. Therapy should always use the lowest effective dose for the shortest duration possible. Basically, take the least amount you need to feel better for the shortest amount of time you can. That's the key to keeping the risks as low as possible.
Okay, so speaking of risks, let's talk about them. Risks and side effects, understanding the downsides. Look, every powerful medicine has a flip side, and it's absolutely crucial to know what you're getting into with Diclofenac so you can use it safely.
The most common issues people run into, they're almost all about the stomach. Remember how we said Diclofenac stops your body from making prostaglandins? Well, it turns out some of those prostaglandins actually protect your stomach lining. So when you reduce them, you can get things like stomach irritation, indigestion, nausea, that kind of thing. Headaches are pretty common.
Now, if you're taking it for a long time or at high doses, the risks get more serious. We're talking about 2 major areas of concern. First, your GI system.
things like gastritis, ulcers, and even bleeding. And second, there's an increased risk for your cardiovascular system. That means a higher chance of things like a heart attack or a stroke. This is a known risk for pretty much the whole NSAID family.
So it goes without saying, this drug is not for everyone. For some people, it's just plain off limits. We're talking about anyone with an active peptic ulcer or with severe liver or kidney disease. Also, anyone with heart failure or who knows they're allergic to other NSAIDs. And it's a definite no-go for women in their third trimester of pregnancy.
All right, let's wrap this up with our final section, interactions and monitoring. This is all about how to be smart and safe when you're using Diclofenac. How can you and your doctor make sure everything's going smoothly, especially if it's not just for a few days?
This is so important. You have to tell your doctor every single thing you're taking. Why? Because Diclofenac can have some really bad interactions. For example, if you mix it with blood thinners or steroids, your bleeding risk goes way up. Take it with other NSAIDs, you're just asking for more toxic side effects. It can even mess with your blood pressure meds and make them not work as well.
And then there's alcohol. I really can't say this loudly enough. Do not mix them. Think about it. Alcohol on its own can irritate your stomach. Diclofenac lowers your stomach's defenses. You put those two together and you have a perfect storm for some really serious stomach bleeding. Just don't do it.
So if you and your doctor decide you need this long-term, it's definitely not a set-it-and-forget-it kind of deal. You have to have regular checkups. It's essential. Your doctor's going to want to keep an eye on your blood pressure and also make sure your kidneys and liver are doing okay with the medicine.
So what does that monitoring look like? Well, your doctor might order a few specific lab tests. They might do a CBC, a complete blood count, to look for anemia, which could be a sign of slow bleeding in your stomach. They'll also check your liver with LFTs and your kidneys with a serum creatinine test. It's all about catching any potential problems early.
So there you have it. Diclofenac is, without a doubt, a super effective weapon against pain and inflammation. But all that power comes with real risks and real responsibilities. It can provide amazing relief, for sure. But the big question you have to ask is it the right choice for you? And that's a conversation you need to have with your healthcare provider.